Well, if you haven't noticed by now, I'm not alone, and I'm not in front of a computer. So that's two things that are in the right direction. AJ's joining me here because he is the person who is responsible for getting me into Celebrity Apprentice in the first place. I started back, was it 3 years ago? 2 years ago? Don't forget, my math's terrible.
Were you, was it the year Brett won you started?
What was who won before that? Was that Piers?
Piers was the first one.
Okay.
It was Piers and then Jaron and then,
Yep.
I never remember the order. So,
well,
once the seasons happen, they go out of
I've seen Brett, I've seen John Rich, and I've seen Arsenio. So, yeah. That was good. They're easy to remember. That sounds right.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but I don't think I am.
No. I've watched 3 seasons of the show, and honestly, I'm not a reality guy. I think the Real Housewives of Who Gives a Crap, I don't care about them. I don't watch the Jersey Shore, and I consider that a reality show, even though it's not reality at all. But I started out as a kid of the real world. I love the real world. I love Road Rules. I like watching all the MTV reality shows before all the crap happened. Like then they got to stuff like Survivor, which I never really followed, even though my boy Johnny Fairplay was on it.
I watched 1 season of Survivor. It was when they were in Australia.
Really? Did not watch that, actually. I was a big Richard Hatch fan, though, and I was happy that he got on to The Apprentice, so I got to put him over, too. So
Is he still in jail?
I think he very well may be. And he's probably watching this video. Hi, Richard. So I don't know how he would be getting this information, but still, it's there. So I decided, because the video that I was shooting, it kind of got marred by a little bit of a problem. And the problem was the fact that some random goof called me with a blocked number. So it pretty much disrupted my flow. So in order to shoot a video today, I thought that since I had AJ coming over here today to shoot some secret stuff for the channel later this week, I would just bring him in with me, because obviously he is the reason I got into The Apprentice in the first place, so it makes perfect sense that he would be here for me for the final 2-part episode. So last night was the final 4 at the very beginning of the episode, and right away Trump was going to fire 2 people. Now I told you from the very beginning that I believe that Penn was going to win this year. And all season, if you guys have followed the videos, you definitely know this, all season long Penn has been quite possibly the strongest player of the season, and easily one of the best players of all time. He knows how to play the game, he's got the Rolodex to become very useful in the game.
It's especially helpful to him this season that Clay Aiken's not here to
Yeah.
cause a ruckus.
Clay Aiken is the only reason that Penn pretty much had any problems last season, and given the fact that obviously you can tell that whose side I'm on, I'm not wearing a Trace Adkins shirt, so you obviously know what side I'm on. I'm definitely Team Penn all the way. But I have been ever since. Before then, like AJ and I at B-Dubs, we talk about random stuff. At one point, we do discuss who we think is going to be in Celebrity Apprentice for the next season. We brought up names like Hulk Hogan. I brought up Hulk Hogan numerous times. And I brought Penn Jillette into the mind of my head, and I was like, honestly, Penn's smart, he could play the game, and he'd do very well. So that's exactly who I thought would get in the season, and sure enough, just last season, he got in the show. And he would have been fine if he didn't get fired for the deemed pompous term, "you earned it," which would be right across the bottom of my chest right now if we had annotations, which I'm working on that. And by working on that, I mean I've looked into it. And by looking into it, I went to one YouTube show.
I don't hate Trump the way other people do, but to get fired by Donald Trump for being pompous,
yeah,
is really, you must be really fucking pompous.
Yeah, and it's funny because the thing about Trump is, you like him or you don't like him. If you're not a fan of Donald Trump, just go back and watch the 2013 WWE Hall of Fame ceremony, because he got booed out of the building. He really did. And, yeah, and Trump's supposed to be at WrestleMania next year, it's what I hear, so who knows if that'll end up happening, but whatever. But, that's what this isn't about. You guys aren't wrestling fans, obviously, if you're watching these videos. You might be, I don't know. But, Maria was on the show, so, I guess that's the only closest knit to wrestling we have in Celebrity Apprentice. Goldberg and Maria in the same year, actually. Yeah, they were the same year, so yeah, interesting. And they both went a long way. So, If I mixed up the years, I'm sorry about that, but it kind of happens from time to time because obviously my mind's a little frazzled, if you haven't noticed. So that's the reason why AJ's here to help me remember things, because obviously I'm going to forget them. So first off, we get to our Final Four, and just like I predicted, the Final Four would be Penn and Lisa, Trace and Lil Jon. Now, you could have an argument for a lot of people that have been fired over the season, and there's really not much of a reason other than the money raised for Trace to be here still.
Well, he didn't. I guess you noticed that he did it differently this time.
Even though he said himself that he didn't. Which is hilarious in its own right.
I think Lisa could have very well been in the top 2 had he not done it the way he did.
I agree. 100%.
Because obviously normally they do the past winners are like at a table and they do an interview. And he decides after that. But he did the taking somebody from each team thing. And obviously Penn and Lisa were on the same team.
Yeah. I mean, it's just been like cut out the middleman and just fired everyone from the newly team power and just have Plan B go at it for the finals. That would have been interesting. Lisa would have been squashed like a grape, but that would have been interesting.
I actually am not sure.
I don't know what her star power was. I mean, because she really didn't show her celebrity Rolodex during the season. Not really.
I could have missed something, but I mean, I shouldn't be because it was set up to be this from the beginning. But
indeed.
In all honesty, when they were fighting to stay in the boardroom, I'm not really sure how Lil Jon got ousted over Trace.
Well, it looks like, there was a couple times if he would have been brought back into the boardroom, he would have been fired. But he wasn't brought back in the boardroom, so obviously he wasn't fired.
Trace just seems to not really, he does now that he's in the finals.
Yeah.
But for the past, he said it himself, the past few weeks, he hasn't been there.
Well, obviously, you wouldn't be there either if you picked the hand-picked team that you know was going to go all the way, and right away, the leader gets cut from the other team, and you get that team. So that's basically like, I didn't pick these guys, so I can see where Trace is coming from. He picked Penn, obviously, because he knew Penn was the strongest player, and he said himself on the episode that he knew that him and Penn together would be absolutely unstoppable. And that would have happened if Brett didn't get fired on the first episode.
Penn also has an advantage because of, you'll notice Penn's like really prepared.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's the one person in the boardroom that never has to think really long before he says something.
Not at all. He's definitely the most intelligent on the show, exactly.
And he's a little, it's not being a kiss ass, but like when
he says the right thing at the right time.
Like when he backed up Lisa,
mm-hmm.
he like cut into Lisa and said, "Forgive me for speaking up."
He knew how to play the game this time around. I mean, sometimes that's what it takes. And for the times that his team lost, it wasn't his fault that they lost at all. And he's had a hand in every single win that Plan B ever had, regardless if he was PM or if he was just a member of the team. Even when other players would try to make them not win, obviously Penn still turned it around, and he had ideas that could have worked in the Universal Challenge, but they weren't able to make it work out. Even though they had fake on set, literally, because they did Nuke Las Vegas for Halloween Horror Nights, and obviously that was a big plus in their direction. And that's the reason Omarosa was mad, if you read about the fact she was kind of peeved about Penn saying that, well, it would make me think that they were going to end up on the final team together, because I knew Penn was going to go all the way, because, I mean, I was nervous because I actually had someone in the race that I'm not just a fan of, I'm a big fan of, as you notice. And I've been a big Penn and Teller fan since day one, ever since I first saw them on The Magic of David Copperfield so many years ago. But I actually had a real stake in this, so I wanted to do something that I usually never do, and that's spoil myself. And to try to find out...
You never do, you always do.
Not with The Apprentice, I don't.
You did last year.
No, Clay Aiken's fans spoiled The Apprentice for me, and that wasn't my fault. They literally tweeted, and they're like, "Oh, Clay's in the finals." I'm like, really? Shouldn't we shoot these people for blowing the finish of a show taped 3 months in advance?
How would you know what the Claymates were saying if you didn't go look?
Twitter.
You have the Claymates on Twitter.
I have Clay Aiken on Twitter.
Oh, that's weird.
I became a fan. His music's pretty decent. He played the game really well. Honestly, he should have won. I totally agree he should have won. And Dee Snider even went on record saying he should have won, too. And everybody wanted him to win, but Trump just, nope, sorry.
Well,
Arsenio's going to win because I have a TV show.
Arsenio doesn't crack under pressure the way Clay did.
I agree with that.
Under pressure, Clay would freak out.
I totally agree with that. And he almost did when he had his interviews. But barely he was able to keep it in, and that's the reason, like, Lisa got fired, and that's the reason Aubrey got fired, so.
The only way Arsenio lost his cool was with Aubrey.
Agreed.
I was, cheering him on when that happened.
Yeah, I know you were. I had to listen to it all the time when we talked about The Apprentice.
Lisa Lampanelli, I wanted to strangle her, but when she, tried to step in and back up Aubrey...
Yeah.
I wanted Arsenio to go off on her, too. but
he showed restraint.
Not to give Lisa Lampanelli credit, but Arsenio knew better.
I'll give credit to Lisa Lampanelli for the fact that she's lost so much weight. You definitely can tell.
That's
last week's episode, when she showed up at Foxwoods to support Penn and Lisa, she lost a ton of weight.
That's like a whole barrage of jokes gone for the next roast for her.
It's like Margaret Cho. Margaret Cho used to be on the chubby side, but she lost a lot of weight too. I mean, she's tiny now.
She didn't look that fat in Face Off.
No, but I mean, when she was doing her when she was on All American Girl.
Isn't it weird that she's in that?
Yeah, I'm a fan, by the way. If she was on a ABC show called All American Girl for one season, it probably didn't even go a half a season, if I remember correctly, and she was chubby on that show. But you look at her now, I mean, she's tatted up, and she's, like, tiny, so she's come a long way, just like Lisa has. But I don't want to get off on a tangent here. Basically, because I do that a lot, and if you haven't noticed by now, you should notice by over 200 videos I get off on tangents rather easily, and then I forget what I'm saying, and then AJ has to put me back on course. Which is what he's not doing right now. Okay.
We weren't really on a course to begin with.
No, I'm trying to get to the beginning of the episode. So we get to the final four at the beginning of this episode, and Mary Lou gets sent packing because chess is a great idea for a party. And so is a 5,000-pound mirror, which makes absolutely no sense. Like, tell me what you think was going on in Mary Lou's head when she brought a giant mirror and a chess master, who you cannot beat, to a happening party. What's the logic in that?
She was focusing more on the theme than the fact that it was a party, I guess.
Yeah, King Suite it was, correct. But it was not a party atmosphere. It actually seemed like it might as well have been a funeral in there, because it seemed like you could hear a pin drop in there. At least the videos we saw. That's probably editing, though.
The executives looked like morticians.
Yeah, they did. You want to talk about the guy, the executive, that looks like a robot with the chestnut eyes? Kind of looked like... Yeah. He looked like he was from... I'm trying to look what I'm looking for here. Maybe My Favorite Martian, potentially. I mean, he had, like, chestnut eyes, and, like, he had no eyeballs at all. I could not see any of them.
You called him a Stepford husband.
He was a Stepford husband, exactly. Yeah, if you've seen the movie The Stepford Wives, either one of them, the original or the remake, then, yeah, he looks like a Stepford husband. Like, he would walk in the room, and he would talk like this. And he kind of has the personality of Dean Malenko. So, and I'm a big Dean Malenko supporter, so, I mean, I could say that. Because he's got a hell of a sense of humor, so that's cool.
And he looks exactly like Bruce Willis does in Die Hard 2.
Yes, he does. And he beat Hogan like a drum on Thunder in Paradise, but we're not going to talk about that. Actually, we might talk about Thunder in Paradise some other. I make flashback review it, possibly. But anyway, he doesn't know that yet because he hasn't seen this video, and he probably won't because he doesn't watch videos. But the thing is, he's a very interesting gentleman. Maybe we'll see him later this week. Who knows? We'll find out later on, actually. He might be filming later today, but I don't know. But anyway, what I was trying to say is we have the episode last week, and Mary Lou gets canned, so the Battle of the BFFs ends with Lisa winning. And they've both been blogging on NBC.com all season, so they get to the final, and they're gone. Well, like I said, I spoiled myself on Twitter trying to find out different things. I found out Penn was going to be in the finals, and I was very, very happy, because obviously I wanted Penn to go all the way, and I want him to win. And not just for himself, and for myself, I want him to win for his charity, which is actually a pretty awesome charity, to be totally honest.
Yeah, it makes him weep.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's legitimate, genuine emotion from Penn when he talks about Opportunity Village. And, you know, if you want to throw the Superstar card into the mix, it doesn't look that bad that it was Elvis's charity.
Yeah.
Not at all. Elvis, Wayne Newton, and Colonel Parker started this charity way back when. And I think it's a very awesome charity. And I think that it should be on a pedestal with the American Red Cross and with all the other different charities all over the country. Because obviously not enough people know about it, but I know when Penn wins next Sunday, they're going to a whole lot more about it. And that's going to be awesome because that's going to show what the charity's about, and then it's going to get a lot more buzz for it. And he's going to win $100,000 this week when his Walgreens flavor gets more than Trace.
I kind of feel bad for Trace because this is the second time he's been in the finals, and it's also the second time he's been in the finals against a guy that's pretty, like, certain going to win.
Yeah, and it's weird because if you watch Penn from last season, I mean, you knew he had the guts to make it to the finals, but he doesn't because he got tripped up on a technicality. And also, he called Walgreens, which is funny because that's the final task, Walmart. And this season, he kind of didn't really do much like that. I mean, he did call Melania a spokesperson, so for her own brand, which that's another thing that peeved off the executives. But other than that, Penn's been pretty spot on this whole season, and I'm very happy to see him in the finals, and he very much deserves it. So, before that happens, obviously, we have to get our final 2 firings. Like I said on Twitter, if you guys are following me, at Sir Owen Disney, you can definitely see that I said in about 20 minutes, Lisa Rinna and Lil Jon are going home. And it's a sad state of affairs, but it's got to be Penn versus Trace. And that's exactly what happened. Everyone fought like they could. They fought their case. And, you know, technically, Lisa probably could have made the final 2 if they wouldn't have just fired one from each team, due to the fact that she raised $505,000, and she was the second money raiser for the entire show.
But, you know, Trace was
$700,000.
And obviously Penn wasn't going home between him and Lisa. So.
Well, and that's another thing, too. You got to hand it to Penn, given the fact that he has the brilliant Rolodex, and he was only PM on Task 6 and 8. But the thing about it is, he's only raised $60,000. That's it. That's all he's raised as a project manager. So that's kind of a low record for someone to go in the finals and win with. But then again, he's won a lot of the MVPs. He's been MVP a lot. Him and Trace have both pretty much split MVP throughout the season. So that's been extra money to their charities.
And for him to have a lengthy Rolodex for the last task isn't something you really have to question.
No, not at all. I mean, literally, what the battle is, it's Vegas versus Nashville. Which is funny because James Storm calls Nashville Nash Vegas, so it's kind of funny because it's about the same thing in different ways. So we eliminate Lil Jon second, which surprised me because I thought Jon was going first after basically what happened in the last boardroom. But Lisa ended up going first because apparently Donald wanted to make it well known that Penn was going to be in the finals right away. And Trace was going to have to fight for it. And, you know, there were a lot of times we thought, well, I knew, but I mean, you would have thought that Trace was going home. He should have went home, but he didn't. And this final probably should have been Penn versus either one of the two.
If anybody else had been acting the way Trace was in the boardroom, they would have been gone 2 weeks ago.
Unless it was Gary Busey. Or Omarosa. Because they kept them on as long as they possibly could.
Well, thankfully, Omarosa didn't last too long.
I don't know why she was not brought in as the final teams. I mean, I don't.
Because Latoya's there.
Oh my God, yeah, that's a good point. But I want to talk about that too in a second. So I thought this was a really cutesy thing to do. After they got the finals, they get into the suite. They're both straight edge, so they toast with apple cider, which was great. And these guys are towering men, literally. These are ginormous men with ginormous ponytails. And to complete the ensemble, right at the very opening of the next morning, Penn puts on a white cowboy hat. That was awesome.
I also love when they were sitting in the suite after they had just been put in the finals, and Trace made the comment, "We look like 2 old dudes on a porch."
It's too bad they don't have Cracker Barrel in Vegas, or I'd love to see that. It's really funny because there's a picture on Trace's Twitter that I started following him after this, because I wasn't a Trace Adkins fan, and I'm not going to be. But basically, I like the way he's acting on Twitter, even though he kind of reminds me of an ass. But the thing about it is...
And because Penn has so much respect for him now.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a picture of Trace on tour. And Trace and Penn's wife, Emily, hang out a lot. I've noticed that. They play golf together and everything. Well, there's a picture on Twitter that I saw that's hilarious. It's like, my new bass player looks a whole like Penn. My old bass player looks a lot like the janitor. So his old bass player is sweeping and Penn's got the upright bass playing. I just thought that was hilarious. And I mean, when you look at Penn's tweets back in the day, you knew it was going to happen because he even tweeted the fact him and Trace are up in a penthouse in New York. Their families are there. Who else would be the final 2? mean, that doesn't make any sense for Emily and Moxie to be there and Penn not be in the finals. So, I mean, I wouldn't think that they would be in a penthouse together if they were on the same team. Although it was really awesome seeing Team Penn across the glass door of the laboratory.
Yeah, it looks like Sean Penn got in the finals or something.
Sean Penn would never be on Celebrity Apprentice, but it would be very interesting television if he was.
But he'd certainly have the Rolodex, to say the least.
Yeah. So who do you want? And no, he just looks at the project manager like, okay, who you want? Okay, you want Clooney? I got Clooney. You want Denzel? I got Denzel. Okay, fine. Who else you want? All right, I got Spielberg. Okay, we're good. All right, we're winning this thing. There's no way we're going to lose. It depends on who's on the other team, though.
That would get Haiti a lot of money.
The charity is literally the country of Haiti. So, no disrespect to Haiti. It's just literally he's raised a lot of money for Haiti awareness. And
I would say he used to freak out, but I'd say Sean Penn's kind of used to those jokes now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
After his run-in with Trey Parker and Matt
Speaking of that, like Russell Crowe fighting around the world with the paparazzi. And okay,
we got really sidetracked.
Yeah, we really did. And
Team Penn got us to that.
Team Penn, of course, yes, exactly. So we get to that, and we see obviously the final task is done at Trump Tower because they have to come up the escalator, because that's just how it works. And,
Reverse Rain Man.
Yeah, exactly. I see the final teams that are going to join Penn and Trace, and, first off, I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. Penn got the short end of the stick for competent team members.
I think as long as he has Lisa, he doesn't care.
Oh, I know he doesn't. He even said it. He says, I don't care. I was worried about getting Lisa. I don't care about anybody else. Well, first off, like I said on the video that you'll never see because it's deleted because some goof called me in the middle of it, I will say that Dennis Rodman, after he got fired, and it was mentioned on Twitter that he checked out, and he's off the wagon again. And you could tell, because he didn't give a damn about anything. He didn't probably even know where he was at the time. No offense to Dennis Rodman. It's just the fact that he just didn't care. And LaToya, well, she's LaToya. And
I think LaToya's a little underrated.
She is. I mean, the stuff with Omarosa really made the season this year, but she really had some good ideas. Now, she also comes off like a brain-dead idiot sometimes, too. But it's just, I'm talking about that with Teller later in the episode, which I think this is hilarious, but we'll talk about that in a second. But go ahead.
It's just the way, if there was one person I didn't expect to say the things about Omarosa that were said, I would not have suspected LaToya.
She's evil, she's a devil, and I don't like her, and she's very, very not nice.
And she killed Michael Clark Duncan.
And she killed Michael Clark Duncan. And she got sued for that.
I'm wondering how they're going to handle that.
I don't know.
Next week, because I'm sure they're both there.
I think if Omarosa doesn't show up, I wouldn't be surprised.
She's in the.
Oh yeah, I didn't really watch that. Pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Normally you don't pay attention to that, but since it's the finals, obviously you don't care anymore because we're not trying to guess who's going to get fired next week.
It's always curious when they say next week for a live show.
Yeah.
Because they're just got to show, archive shit.
Yeah, because this stuff was filmed in November. I mean, they stopped filming the middle of November last year. And I know about it because I went to a website, survivorsucks.youku.com, I think that's what it is. And it spoiled the entire boot list. And it was pretty accurate, to be totally honest. And someone went to the final ice cream social, and they said there was actually a celebrity that said he was going to root for Trace Atkins in the finals. So that was actually said on Twitter. I think there should have been legality involved to not tweet about it, because then maybe we wouldn't have found out anything. And that would have been good. Because if you weren't looking for it, it still was there. Because when you're following Penn Jillette on Twitter and he says that he's hanging out with Trace in New York, you gotta wonder what's going on when you first find out that Trace and Penn are both on the next season of the new Celebrity Apprentice. But they pick their team. Actually, no, Donald picks their teams, which I thought he'd be a jerk and actually give Lisa to Trace at one point. But obviously, we knew that Penn was going to be in the finals because Trace would have picked Penn first, and that was not going to happen, so basically, Trace gets the stronger team overall. John and Mary Lou, and the wild card is Gary. And Penn gets the leftovers and his beloved Lisa. Which is fine, because LaToya is actually going to contribute. Dennis is going to check out, and he does, 15 minutes of the episode. He literally checks out. Penn sends him home at one point. Just like they do with Gary Busey, because once he does the video and he does his little dance, literally he does his little dance, then...
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, I think that's going to be bad in the long run, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
So Trace isn't going to win anyway.
No, he's not. The final, and he's going to lose twice. He's going to be second runner-up twice, once to Piers and once to Penn. So he loses to a P both times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. And a P that has a lot more impressive Rolodex than he'll ever dream of having. So Trace basically is trying to call people as he's in the laboratory, and you have to wear lab coats at all times, apparently, when you're doing these ice cream tasks. He's in his little laboratory, and Gary, of course, is doing his Busey thing, and Mary Lou is stressing over details like what kind of fabric is on the lab coat. But they come up with the idea that, okay, we need to call people, so Trace gets on the phone, and he's like, okay, well, Toby turned me down. We obviously know who we're talking about. America's favorite patriot, America, Toby Keith, and he said no. And Blake Shelton turned him down. And AJ, I don't know if you know this or not, but the reason why Blake Shelton turned him down is because when he was on the phone last week trying to elicit donations for the task, he called Blake Shelton, and if you notice on television, he called someone an asshead. That was Blake Shelton. So I think he pissed away his chance of getting Blake Shelton at the final task. So a lot of people, Tim McGraw turned him down because, you know, he has a movie career now, so he doesn't have to worry about this crap anymore. And he's not going to answer Trace's call, but I know people that do show up in the finals, and it's not really the greatest of Rolodex.
You know, The Blind Side was 4 years ago. Has Tim McGraw been in a movie since then?
That's more of a movie career than Trace will ever have.
It was nominated for Best Picture, so we'll give him that.
Yeah, and I liked him in that movie, him with his shaved facial hair and everything.
He made that Woody Allen reference that's really funny.
Yeah, and I don't like The Blind Side, but I actually did like him in The Blind Side, so.
The movie's okay. People make too big a deal about it.
I don't like Sandra Bullock because of that movie, so.
Why?
She screwed Carrie out of winning the Oscar. You know I was going to go with that.
Carrie was never going to win. It was her and Meryl.
No, Carrie would have came in at the last minute, and she would have swept by both of the veterans and took the award like she deserved.
Is this in the alternate universe that Watchmen takes place in, or?
No, not that I'm aware of.
We're off again.
Again. At least we're not off camera. At least someone hasn't cut us off yet. So I deleted a lot of stuff on the iPhone, so it should be fine. Basically, so Trace is calling people, and he's failing miserably. About this time, Joan Rivers shows up, and she wants to pretty much make fun of the fact that Trace doesn't really have a Rolodex. She doesn't know how many of them there country folk are going to be worth a rootin' tootin' dime. Yeah, that's right. So she basically has no idea that Trace Adkins is a very, very successful entertainer and is worth a lot of money. So she doesn't know how he's going to bring anybody in, but I'm pretty sure if the right time was there, he would be able to bring someone in, but not someone that can necessarily get to New York in a moment's notice. That might be a problem.
That's a lot of big names he said couldn't make it.
Yeah. And I mean, don't forget he tried to get a hold of Dolly Parton, and she was stuck in Pigeon Forge, so she couldn't fly in for the last task, and she could have came in, but she didn't, and he brought in the country Justin Bieber, just Hunter Hayes instead. So, obviously Justin Bieber's not going to be on this episode either. Who knows who Trace knows? He said, I know a lot of celebrities. Okay, fine. Call your bluff. Call them. And he doesn't. So they're trying to pick this new flavor, and Trace is like, oh, well, I like maple, and I like the macadamia nut, like, candies.
Red Velvet's my favorite cake.
And Red Velvet's my favorite cake. And it's all southern and classy. And I was like, these are going to be our flavors. And I was like, okay. So these are flavors that we already have on the market with a different branding. That's awesome. Over on Penn's side, it's all about Vegas, glitz, glamour, magic. Obviously, because it's Penn Jillette. And they come up with some sort of a macadamia nut, which is kind of like the loser of the group, because everybody jumps on the fact that there's vanilla with sea salt caramels and turtles, which are chocolate with caramel inside, which, they're going to be amazing once I get to have them next weekend. But, LaToya jumps on the fact that there's a swirl and there's a turtle. Let's combine the words and call it Vegas Magic Squirtle. What do you think of that name?
Well, don't forget, they did the really good idea where their, slogan is explaining what that means.
Oh, yeah. It's called a lantern in Magic, actually. It's basically to describe something that you don't really know what it is, and it literally lays it out right in front of you in bold print exactly what a Squirtle is. And that's great, because if someone told you, hey, AJ, do you want to try this Magic Squirtle? You might be a little apprehensive, to say the least. God knows what that could be, so.
And Penn had the really awesome idea of
I love
what it says at the bottom.
Yeah, poof, it's gone. At the very bottom once you finish your ice cream. And trust me, I'll do a video and show you guys what's going to happen when I finish that ice cream. Because it's better say poof, it's gone. So that's a brilliant idea that Lisa said cued about 4,000 times, so much I could have made it a drinking game. So basically, Gary is doing whatever. And they decide they have to make, obviously, a 60-second viral video in order to promote the ice cream. Penn and Teller, Vegas Showgirls, winning combination. That's awesome. And on Trace's side, he's like, okay, dance, Busey, dance. Because Gary Busey equals comedy. Gary Busey can shut his mouth, but he equals comedy. And that's basically what Trace has done the entire season, other than when he was talking about cavemen.
Well, you gotta admit, though, despite the way he is, it's still amazing what Busey can do.
I agree, completely.
It's not surprising he was nominated for an Oscar, no matter how long ago it was, because...
Not at all.
When you ask him to act, he'll really do it.
Yeah, but he's bat crazy,
Even,
though.
There's this movie that, nobody's seen. It's, Surviving the Game with Ice-T and Rutger Hauer. And it's a modern take on The Most Dangerous Game.
Okay.
And Busey's one of the guys. And he's got this, it's this forgotten 90s action movie starring Ice-T, but Busey gives, this Oscar-caliber performance where he tells a story in one take about, him and a dog. And it's like...
Wow, I did not know that. I don't deny Busey is a strong player, and he's actually a very strong actor. But they're playing him for comedy this time around. And they're literally using him as comedy. The mechanical dog thing notwithstanding. Which we don't want to talk about the mechanical
That's what
dog.
he got fired for, so that's taken care of.
Yeah. That's his reasoning right there. So he comes back and they're going to do a viral video. Basically what they're going to do is... And it brings up the name of the ice cream, which is the mashup. Maple Macadamia Mashup, which you can't say 5 times fast. Well, you probably can, but you can't if you're thinking about it. So a mashup has to be mentioned to Gary because Gary doesn't understand what it is, and he fell asleep 3 times during the thing. But Gary's tired.
He was eating ice cream all day.
He was eating ice cream, so he was done. It's kind of like Thanksgiving after you eat a bunch of turkey. I mean, it's not like I would know anything about this, but Thanksgiving, you eat a bunch of food, and then you're watching whatever's on television, probably useless football, and you're like, sleep. And then you wake up 16 hours later, and you don't know what day it is. So that's basically what happened. He was in a food coma. So he fell asleep, and Mary Lou's like, Gary, wake up, wake up. Like she's trying to wake up a little child in the morning for school. And that's basically what they treat Gary like. They treat him like a school child the entire season. So they wake him up, and what he does is he performs. He can wake up, get right out of bed, and bam, he can throw an Oscar-worthy performance out. And that's the brilliance of Busey, to be totally honest.
I think Lil Jon was taken back by the fact that Busey actually had something worthy to say. He was saying, should she, have the ice cream or something like that? And Lil Jon just goes, no. Well, yeah.
Make sure the Walgreens logo and the Delish logo are definitely prominently displayed in the video as well. No QR code this time for this team. So since it's now not Power anymore and it's not Plan B anymore, basically there's no more QR codes. So we're not going to see one of those for this Walgreens ad. We probably will next week. Now I said that, so but I haven't seen the video footage, so I don't know. But over on Penn's team, like I said, they bring Teller in, and immediately LaToya is quite perplexed by Teller.
Was it LaToya?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Dennis pretty much checked out at the beginning of this episode, so it really wasn't a big deal. And he's like, he's on the phone. He's like, I'll try to get a Derek Jeter bat and stuff. I think it's the second time he's mentioned trying to get a Derek Jeter bat, and we've not seen one yet.
Yeah.
So maybe Robin doesn't have as an extensive of a Rolodex with his bad boy image.
No, they did get the Jeter bat the first time.
Oh, that was the art exhibit. It was the second time he's tried for the same thing. Basically what I'm trying to say. So he's trying to get memorabilia from different athletes, and you'd think Robin would be able to get that, but apparently not. So he checks out. But LaToya, yes, LaToya. So LaToya doesn't understand something. LaToya doesn't understand anything about Penn and Teller, and Lisa brings this up during the episode, and I thought everyone in the world knew who Penn and Teller was. I mean, they're a brand. They've been together for over 30 years, and they have their own show in Las Vegas. They've had their own television show on cable and as well on regular television. They've got a show that's over in the UK called Fool Us, which is awesome. And everybody knows who they are. But LaToya Jackson, for some reason, did not realize that Teller's gimmick is that he does not talk. So she tried to talk to him, and Teller's like...
But we have heard his voice
Oh,
on
yeah.
the phone.
Yeah, his voice was actually used on last week's episode, and Penn was like, you realize we're on camera, right? He's like, talk. And I was like, well, it's going to be just a minute.
They have that rule that, so they know you're not doing anything. Like, it's a Celebrity Apprentice rule that they have to talk on speakerphone when they call somebody. That makes sense. So...
Like Omarosa putting her own money in the account for one of the first tests. He's like, this is going to be a little bit extra money, and this is the extra reason why she didn't get fired, so... That was a smart move, a very skeevy move, but a smart move nonetheless. So, LaToya doesn't realize Teller didn't speak, and he's not going to speak, because he spoke last week's episode, so obviously he's not going to speak now. So, that's the gimmick. That's the Penn and Teller gimmick, and that's how it works. Penn talks a lot, and Teller doesn't. That's just how it works. If you guys didn't know that already, then I don't know why you're watching this video. Especially with someone wearing a Penn and Teller shirt in all of his videos. You see, it's that little thing, me drinking the frozen lemonade. Anyway, basically, she's, like, enamored by him. It's like, he's so cute, I want to put him in my pocket. And he's like a little troll and everything, but he's all cool. And I was like, Teller is awesome. Teller is absolutely incredible. He's cool. He's extremely intelligent. I mean, he's a former Latin professor, so he definitely knows what he's talking about. And now he basically gets paid to not say anything. And it's the greatest job ever. It's kind of like how Kevin Smith does the Jay and Bob movies. Until he has that one big, long soliloquy at the very end, and it happens nearly in every episode. But, incidentally...
Wow. Kevin Smith took that right from them, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Absolutely. Because definitely, Penn and Teller was Penn and Teller was in 1979, actually. That's when, I believe 1979 is when there was a friend of theirs. His name was Weir Chrissimer, and he introduced the two together. And that was when Penn was doing juggling on the streets in New Jersey. So, they formed the partnership, and then look what they are now, so... But anyway, sorry, I like talking about Penn and Teller, because I'm a big fan. But, so she's really enamored by Teller. Teller's not talking, and he's trying to be polite about it. And Lisa finally breaks it down when they're in the caravan on the way back and says, you know Teller doesn't speak, right? Like, you just see LaToya's face, like, no, I did not know this. I've been living under a rock for the last 15 years. I have no idea what's going on. But... yeah, so Teller doesn't speak, and this is perfect. It's a great way to introduce the ice cream, and it's utilizing Penn and Teller, which is a name brand, and Vegas Showgirls, which obviously is a brand in its own right, from the Jubilee show, and you can definitely tell because that's what the sign they had when they weren't holding the Walgreens Delish ice cream. Over on Trace's side, basically, there is the viral video that Gary is shooting. He's doing this sort of random dance, and then they're going to film it with a smartphone. And after that, it becomes viral, and they're putting over the ice cream, and that's how he finds out the term about mashup, because the mashup is putting the old style and the new style together. So Gary finds out about this, and he does a pretty good performance, but I'm not exactly sure what it has to do with the ice cream. At all.
The ice cream is what makes him dance.
The ice cream makes him dance. No, him inhaling that much sugar for an entire day, that's what makes him dance, not necessarily ice cream. I don't know what he was eating otherwise, but he needed to stay away from that tea, because I'm sure that's what he's drinking.
I suppose we can see it as it's some clever commentary on how many stupid-ass videos go viral for some reason. But I don't think that's the case.
Charlie bit my finger, David goes to the dentist. These stupid things.
There is a great viral video now, though.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling won't eat a cereal.
Which I watched for the first time yesterday.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
I think so as well. I almost want to get a plastic spoon and just go...
yeah, it's like...
But I don't have one, so I can't do that.
I was thinking exactly. The top comment on YouTube is, this is the kind of thing you wish you thought of.
The other thing I can do right now is the Kids in the Hall thing. I'm crushing your head. That's all I can really do. So, that's all I can do with an iPhone. But, there's so many things I can do. But still, basically, so both teams have interesting concepts, and it's going to work out pretty well. Their flavors are going to sell okay. The Maple Macadamia, not my style at all. So, obviously, even if I supported Trace as the winner for this task, no. I don't like the ice cream. But Penn, on the other hand, I love this idea. I love chocolate. I love vanilla. I love swirl. I like turtles. I like turtles. That's for you, Noel. But,
speaking of viral videos.
Yeah, exactly. That's for you, Mike Noel. So, see you at reunion, sir. But basically, what I've got right here is the fact that the right ice cream that I want to win is going to win. And like I said, if you go to Walgreens right now, like once you get done watching this video, obviously, because I don't want you to just leave in the middle, or you can pause and be like, and then we'll talk again. So basically, what's going to happen in that is just go to your local Walgreens, or I don't remember what it's called off there. What's the other one? It's oh god, it's the gourmet grocery store in New York that they did the. Do you remember what it's called? Walgreens, that's easier. Go to your local Walgreens and pick up yourself a pint of Walgreens Delish Ice Cream Vegas Magic Swirtle and support Penn, Gillette, and Opportunity Village.
Just make sure it's not Walmart, like Penn told you last season.
Yeah. It's not Walmart. If it was Walmart, I can go walk there right now, but it's Walgreens, so I gotta wait like till Friday when my mom gets home so we can go to Marietta. So I can get myself a couple pints of this stuff, and I can have it for the finale, so we can have it ready for Sunday. But no. So like I said, go out, and if you like Trace, you can put over his ice cream too. It's maple macadamia mashup, and you can buy those both at Walgreens right now. They're both available, and the person who sells the most ice cream is going to get an extra $100K to their charity. So that's a great thing, and I support both charities completely.
Yeah, we forgot to mention that Little John got a little extra too on his way out.
Yeah, John got about $20,000 because he told a story about his mom and her diabetes, and he thought she was in remission, and she had a severe attack, and this was very powerful not very powerful, this was very important to him because of that fact. He was very passionate about it, and that's the reason he wanted to succeed in Apprentice this year. So Trump's like, okay, I'm a nice guy, I'm going to give you $20,000 for your charity, and I mean, that was a class act from Trump, obviously. I mean, it works really well. It's kind of like what he did with Brandy earlier on in the season.
Despite the fact that sometimes he, tears down people's homes to build buildings, Trump is very charitable.
Absolutely. Absolutely charitable.
Those are two extremes on the different sides.
I mean, you want to say charitable, he let Lou Ferrigno on television again, so, I mean, that's charitable.
Well, he is still the voice of the Hulk.
Yeah. I mean, he literally still is the voice of the Hulk. I mean, he was actually used in... Which movie was it again? It wasn't the Avengers.
Yeah.
Was it?
I think so.
Okay, then I was right.
Well, it's also the...
I just want to make sure I was right before I said the wrong thing.
In The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, he does the voice of the Hulk, and he's the security guard with the pizza.
Yes. Because he gives 110% at all times. Even when he is delivering pizza.
There's that goof in I Love You, Man, where we see Lou Ferrigno on the phone.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen.
No, it wouldn't. Hearing aids are a wonderful thing, though. My dad actually has one, and he swears by it, and he wouldn't have been able to hear anything if it wasn't for that. So I understand where Lou Ferrigno is coming from there. 100%. And he can talk on the phone, but...
You do know, people have probably been watching your videos long enough. You say 100% about as much as Lou Ferrigno says 110%.
Not as much as I say, here's the thing. So... Well, when we get around to this whole episode was pretty much getting this final task ready, and they really haven't contacted many celebrities yet. I mean, they tried. Oh, at one point, Penn got a hold of Wayne Newton, which is awesome. And Wayne is in Phoenix for a parade the night of the task. So Wayne goes, well, and I think this was kind of glossed over by everyone in the room because they all seemed kind of dejected Wayne was going to be there. He actually said that I need to get a hold of someone so they can take my place and I can be there. That's exactly what he says, but they're still dejected thinking that Wayne's not going to show up. So obviously, Wayne's going to move heaven and earth in order to make it there.
He said something about a parade, but we all know the real reason. He's having pasta with Ellen Crystal.
Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. In his karate robe and everything. Yeah.
Giving out locks of his hair.
I love that movie. I freaking love that movie. Next stop, Wayne Newton's house. So, yeah, Vegas Vacation, if you get a chance to... It fits into the theme of today's episode. If you get a chance to watch it, go watch it. Go watch it as soon as possible. It's absolutely hilarious. But I'm surprised Penn and Teller actually are not in it, because they went for Siegfried and Roy, who are a lot more notated with Old Vegas than New Vegas, which would have been Penn and Teller if this movie had been made now. But, we again, off on a tangent. But, like I said, it's Vegas versus Nashville, and we don't know Trace's Rolodex yet. I mean, we kind of do. I kind of know from Wikipedia some of the people he brings in, but...
Let's not forget, the editing always
yeah.
screws with things. Like, Trace could have, like, a whole line of people waiting that the editing wouldn't show us just to build suspense.
Oh, of course. Like the snowstorm when we knew the teller was going to make the show, because it's even listed in the description of the episode. The teller is going to be on the show. It's like, oh, he's not going to make it because there's 15 inches of snow. 15 feet of snow, not inches. My math is terrible, and so is my measurements, apparently. But, yeah. So, you can talk now so I can get my voice back.
15 feet of snow, that's like, nope. Like, is that even possible?
I don't know anymore. There's a buttload of snow, I know that much. And I based it on the fact that one time I put $5 in my butt, and I'm not going to brag or nothing, but I'm pretty sure I could put a whole lot more up there.
Let's know that's a reference to something and not something you just said.
If you get that reference, guys, thumbs up. Yeah, leave a comment if you get the reference. I mean, because it's pretty funny, and it's from something else I think is a forgotten comedy, so I'll be talking about it soon. But I'll tell you off camera what it is. It is kind of funny. But we actually were discussing it the other day. But, yeah, it is from something. I didn't just pull that out of my behind. I stole it from someone, because I steal my best material from great comedians and not so great comedians sometimes, depending on what I decide to say at the time. But basically, we don't know whose Rolodex is going to be bigger. We don't know exactly who's going to show up, so we have tension on both sides. Trace is basically getting shut down by all the men of country music, and Penn basically leans on Wayne Newton, and we don't know if he's going to be able to make it or not, because Wayne's obviously a charitable person, because Opportunity Villages is charity.
This is the way Celebrity Apprentice works.
Exactly.
Every time if they get a hold of somebody on the phone and you don't think they're going to show up, they do show up.
Oh, of course.
Like Jeffrey Holder with Marley Matlin.
That's true. That's a very good point.
It's like I mean, I watch the show all the time and I like it.
Yeah, he was a fan of the show way before I was. He watched all the seasons. I haven't.
The suspense is so manufactured.
Oh, yeah.
Like when
Dee even broke that in his interview on the internet.
It was when they called Jeffrey Holder, and he said they asked him to come in for this Retro 7 Up.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he said, "My answer is," and then they cut the commercial. And it's like, is Jeffrey Holder really on the phone saying, "My answer is," long pause?
That'd be hilarious. 7 Up Retro, keeping it real. So, yeah, I remembered that. My memory's terrible, but I can remember that.
John Rich thanks you, Mark McGrath.
Yes, exactly. John Rich definitely thanks you. So, basically, this whole episode was all about that, and we haven't got to the party yet. We're going to get to the party in the next week's episode. So next week's episode is live. They're going to be live in New York, and of course we're going to see footage from the actual party itself, and that's going to lead us to the final boardroom where either Penn or Trace is going to get fired. Or get hired, depending on how they do it this season. Like, he could say, Penn, you're hired, or Trace, you're fired. Either way, Penn's going to win.
If somebody's hard of hearing, they're not going to know what's going on.
Yeah, no lie. Absolutely. So basically, it was a good episode. And I'll say right now that I really wish that this would have been... Dennis Rodman does not need to be on this episode at all. He's useless. He's totally useless.
Going back to that, I think how easy it is to mix up hired and fired is why last year, I don't know if he did it the previous years, but last year he said, the Celebrity Apprentice is, and he just said Arsenio.
And the Oscar goes to... So, basically, like I said, I mean, the episode was good for what it was. I mean, we've got the final boardroom next week, and we're going to, like I said, either way, Penn's going to win. So it doesn't really matter. And it's going to be really awesome to see him and Teller celebrating with, like, the confetti and everything falling from the sky. It's going to be awesome.
I talk about the manufactured suspense, but they actually did leave us in a place where I'm not really sure how they're going to fix the problem they left us on.
Yeah, there's the video that they shot is amazing. It's spot on, even though there's a problem with apparently the bedazzled crotch in the face on the shot. And of course, they kind of got rid of that. Penn likes it, obviously, but I mean, I don't know if it works really well for a family-owned company's commercial. They've got a problem with the fact that they're way over... They're 109 now. I mean, they were like 115, now they're 109, which of course that has to be 60 minutes. 60 minutes, wow. Seconds, yes. A minute long, 60 seconds. I don't know why, I just forget things sometimes. But, basically, they're at 1:09, and they have to cut this off, and you don't know what to trim, because you really can't trim much of it, so, I mean, like, the clock's ticking right now, what's going to happen with that. And I don't even know if Trace's video is even going to work, to be totally honest.
Even if both videos fail, Penn still has a big enough Rolodex that he'll win anyway.
The party will be the task breaker right there. Because it says, actually the episode is, I mean, I'm going to paraphrase it. I don't know the exact title off the top of my head, but it basically is like one person will win, but not by much.
Penn could actually say fuck it and release the video at 1:09 and still win.
Indeed. Next week's episode will include celebrities, obviously, that will be on both sides. Like, you're going to see the Blue Man Group, you're going to see Teller, you're going to see
Marissa and Latoya in the same room.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. In its own right, that's going to be great.
Is that list is still going on?
Yeah, I think it is, actually. So it might be a really good idea to do what they did with the Real World reunions, and they kept certain people way far away from each other. Like, they had one person on one side, and the person they had heat with is on the opposite side of the room.
Was it Nene Leakes and Star, I think?
That sounds right.
Had the friction.
Yeah.
And it continued in the finale.
Yeah, it was insane. So, like I said, there's episode. I mean, you're gonna see like some guy from football, Tim Tebow, whoever the hell that guy is.
I always hear his name, but I don't care enough about sports to really know who he is.
Football! Not on this channel, guys.
I couldn't even give you a team.
Yeah, some guy named Tim Tebow, whatever his name is. The Oak Ridge Boys are gonna be brought out from the deepest, darkest depths of Branson, Missouri, from whence they came, and you're gonna see different people are gonna be on this episode. So it's gonna be pretty cool. I mean, I know David Copperfield is supposed to not on the episode, but I know he contributes. So he was actually tweeting the other day about to retweet Penn for Celebrity Apprentice MVP, which of course I've already done numerous times. So if you want to still have time, you could definitely tweet Penn or Trace is my hashtag Celebrity Apprentice MVP, and the winning person is going to get more money for their charity, which is all what this is all about in the long run. It's all fun, it's all about drama, it's all about entertainment, but when it all comes down to it, it's all about Opportunity Village and the American Red Cross, and that's how it should be. So, once again, I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and next week AJ will join me again on another Monday, and we're going to talk about the finals, the actual final episode. We're going to discuss what happens at the party, we're going to discuss what happened in the final boardroom, how many times that we have a small cat fight between Omarosa and Latoya, and other things in between. But before I get done with that, what I was trying to say earlier was the fact that Dennis Rodman shouldn't have been in this. It should have been Dee Snider. It would have fit a lot better.
I wonder why he didn't come back.
Dee is actually at the final task. I know this for a fact. He's been seen. There's pictures. I've seen pictures of him at the final task. But I don't know why he was not in the final task. He should have been a member of Team Penn, because that would have made great sense instead of Dennis Rodman. I don't know why they brought Rodman back. I think basically it's to me it sounds like kind of a rib on Rodman, the fact that he was on the wagon, he was doing fine, and then as soon as he got fired, he had to throw a big party, got completely smashed. And Trump's like, I'm going to bring you back now, and I'm just going to show the world that I was right. And that's basically that's what it looks like to me, at least. And Latoya's back because he's indebted to the Jackson family for the rest of time. So, because that doesn't make good television. Omarosa could have been back. That would have made good television for, like, the drama. But that brings Gary in, so it doesn't really matter.
It's to a point now to where Latoya's been fired like 3 times.
Yeah.
But she's had as much screen time as people who have won.
No lie. It's like the American Idol winners. It's like, look at the people that have won and look at their careers. And look at the people that have lost and look at their careers. They're completely different. So, but that's all the time we have for today, folks. We're going to talk Celebrity Apprentice. Once again, me and AJ back next week. And hope you guys liked the videos. Enjoyed the videos. Watch the videos. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you're more than welcome to, @SirOwenDisney. If you want to help join the Popcaster Revolution, you can send an email to SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. So you can check me out there and hit me up. And if we like your videos, we'll put them on here and make you a podcaster. So that's how it works. So I'm just going to get off here now. And we actually shot some secret footage for later in the week that you guys will see later in the week. So until tomorrow, boys and girls, go Team Penn. And that's all I got to say about that.